You want to use YouTube to grow your business, but it seems like every time you open editing software, it's written in a foreign language. Or even if you know the tool, they've changed something again. I'm going to walk you through how to edit your YouTube videos super fast, keeping it nice and simple using my favorite tool, Descript. So you can get a polished, professional looking video edited in about 10 minutes. And from that, you're going to be able to show up online faster and more often, which of course means more visibility, more leads, more sales. So I'm here in Descript. And by the way, I've been using Descript for years. They did approach me recently and offer to sponsor some videos on my channel. So thank you to them for that, including this one. And the first step is, of course, loading our recording. So two ways you can do that. If you've already recorded your video on your phone or a separate camera, you can go to New Project, Video Project, and then inside of a Descript project, you can literally take your video file, drag it onto the screen, and it's going to upload it. You can see down here, it's uploading right now. It's going to generate a transcript to make editing easier. You'll see how that works here in just a second. Now, as easy as that was, let me show you two easier things you can do in Descript, okay? First, if you did record your video on your phone, you can click Upload from Mobile right here, and then you scan this QR code with your phone, and it'll take you to a link where you can log into your Descript account and upload your video directly from your phone. So you don't have to just transfer it to your computer first. And then what I do that I find the easiest is you can actually record directly into Descript. So instead of having to import anything, I hit record. You can choose to record with just your camera and your screen, kind of like I'm doing here right now, or you can record with others. Descript has it set up so if you were doing an interview or you had a guest in a video, you can record all of that. It comes right into Descript. So that's step one, get your video file or files into Descript. Step two, we're gonna take your whole recording and we're gonna edit it down in a couple of seconds, okay? So I'm here, this is a video that I recorded yesterday. I needed a lot of takes for this video. My mouth just wasn't working right. Sometimes that happens to us as humans. So right now, this video is 23 minutes and 24 seconds. You can see here down at the bottom. So I'm gonna go to AI Tools and I'm gonna click on Shorten Word Gaps. And by the way, a word gap is basically silence where you weren't talking. And now up here, I can ask it to look for gaps that are longer than a certain length. So for YouTube videos, I usually ask it to find anything longer than 0.8 seconds. You can experiment and figure out what works best for you. And then I click Find All Word Gaps. And over here, it finds all of the times that there was a word gap. Now, you could go through and click on each of those, but I just go through and I check this second setting where it says shorten to. So anything that's longer than 0.8, I shorten it to 0.2, and then I just click shorten all. And in less than 1 second, my 23-minute video is already down to 14 minutes and 17 seconds. Step three is to remove all the times you messed up. If you're perfect, awesome and congratulations to you. I am not. So what we're gonna do first is use AI to help with this. So I'm gonna click on AI Tools, and then I'm gonna click on Remove Retakes, and I'm gonna hit Submit. And what that's gonna do is go through the script and basically find all the times that I said something more than once, got tongue-tied, and then try and choose the best version of it, usually the last one, right? Once we get it right, then we go on to the next part of the script. So now if we look over here, we can see all of these light gray crossed out lines. Those are all the times where it found things that I said more than once and basically took them out of the script. So when we play this back, it'll skip over those parts. Now, if you want, you can go through and you can check each one individually and you can accept it by pressing the green check mark or reject it by pressing the X, the red X. But I'm gonna just trust it at this point that it did a pretty good job. It's not perfect. I can already see it didn't get everything perfect, but we're gonna fix that in the next step. By the way, if you're new here, I realize I forgot to introduce myself at the beginning. My name is Jerry Potter, and I help entrepreneurs grow a lead generating YouTube channel in only 90 minutes a week. Part of that is, of course, being able to edit your videos quickly. So if you would find that kind of content valuable, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming videos. So step four is we're going to edit the rest of the video down. The feature that first put Descript on the map is you can edit it like a Word document. So we can see here the transcript of everything that I said, and instead of having to go through in a timeline down here and, trim things up, we can literally highlight what we don't want, hit delete, and the video will be edited to match. So I can see here this first line, you will have a thriving YouTube channel in 2026. Here's how. Then I said you will be thriving on YouTube in 2026 if you start treating your channel like this. So I know that this second one is the one that I wanted. So I can put my cursor there, scroll that up, and hit delete. And the more you do this, the better your eyes and brain will get at seeing exactly where you might have messed up. So you just go through your script like it's a Word document and delete everything that you don't want. One tip that has made this part way faster for me, if you can, try and do this editing of the document part right after you record, because it'll still be fresh in your mind and it'll be easier to see the mistakes that the AI didn't catch and delete them. Also, one more thing, if the AI took out something you did want, that's why we leave it in here with the crossed out lines. All you have to do is click on that section and then click this undo button, or I guess it's the restore button, and it'll put that back in, okay? So now I can see that whole line is there. Once you've gone through the transcript and cleaned everything up, step 5 it's optional. It's something I've been experimenting with, but I wanted to share it with you here in this video. So inside of Descript, they have an AI feature called Underlord here in the lower right corner, and I'm gonna click on that, and you'll see it's kind of like a chat bot. It's basically like ChatGPT, except built into Descript, and you can literally ask it anything you want. You could ask it to edit your video, you could ask it how it should edit your video, and it's learning and it's getting smarter every day. At some point in the future, it may be the type of thing where you just put in a prompt and it edits your whole video. And I can't wait for that. That'll be amazing. But for now, this is one of my favorite ways to use it. So I put in, this is a YouTube video and I want to keep viewer retention as high as possible. The longer somebody watches your video, the more YouTube will recommend that video to new people. So this is really important. Please go through and identify any sections that are not necessary to the overall video and could be removed. Do not make suggestions for things I could re-record. So sometimes when you do this, it will say like, oh, well, this line you blabbered too long, and you could say it much more succinctly. So I just point that out, like, I'm not recording again, just see if I can tighten this up at all. So I go through and submit it. And what it's gonna do, it's gonna go through and analyze the entire transcript. It has the context for this, and see if there's some sections that could come out of it. And look at it go. It can be very judgmental. So, brace your self-esteem for it. Once it's done, you can quickly go through and skim and see if there's anything that you want to actually take out. So it may have some good insights. Here it says, here you introduced yourself. Maybe you don't need that, but I wanted to introduce myself in this video, so I kept that. Here it says redundant content. So there was a moment where I was talking about a YouTube viewer and I said Sally, and then I said, I don't know any Sallys. I don't know why that name Sally popped into my head. Obviously, that's not really necessary, but I like to leave a little bit more personality in the video, so I'm not going to take that out. So you don't have to agree with what it says, and you can skip this entirely, but if you are working on your YouTube retention, it can be some interesting insights. And down at the bottom, you could just tell it, yes, remove all of those sections if you want. That's not the approach I would take. If there was something I actually wanted to remove, it tells me exactly where it is. I would just go in, find it, highlight it, and hit delete. So that's step 5. And before we get to step 6, I want to show you how to add B-roll and music to your videos in Descript. Now, if your goal is to just edit a video in 10 minutes and be done, it's not worth taking the time to put B-roll in. In fact, YouTube did this big study a couple of years ago where they connected sensors to people's brains to find out exactly what led to viewer satisfaction. And it wasn't B-roll or fancy quick edits or anything like that. What makes people love your videos is an emotional connection with you on the screen, with you, the topics that you're talking about. So if you are trying to do a minimalist approach to YouTube video editing, B-roll is generally not going to be worth your time. If you did want to add music, then you could just have the same music bed every time and drop it in. But I'll show you, just because this is a Descript tutorial, how to do this really quick. So here's a section where I talked about my YouTube growth, how slow I grew in the beginning, and then how fast it was toward the end. And so I'm going to go through and I'm just going to highlight this section where I talk about jumping to 1,000 subscribers and then 10,000 subscribers. So I'm going to highlight that. Then I'm going to come over here to media and I'm going to put in, let's try YouTube growth. And it shows GIFs and different things, but I'm going to go with video right here, show all. And then you can see different options for B-roll here. So I like this first one where the view count is just going up. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to drag it over here on top of that line I just highlighted and let go of it. It's going to quickly add that there. And then now you'll see I'm talking and then it'll cut to the B-roll and then cut back to me talking. Then a month later, I had 1,000. A year after that, I had 10,000. So somewhere in there, so that's how easy it is to add B-roll inside of Descript. And then with music, it's the same thing. You can come over to media. We'll click back here. We'll go to this search bar and search for, let's say, inspirational music. Click on the audio tab, music, show all. And then these are all here. You can preview them and then you just click the plus sign to add it to your project. And so if you wanted it at the very beginning, you would put your cursor here at the very beginning. You would hit the plus sign. It'll import that music that you chose. And then you can see it's been added right here in the timeline. Descript does adjust the audio levels between your voice and the music, which is nice. But if you want to adjust it further, you can click on the music here. You can come up here to properties and then you can turn it up and down right here really easily so that it matches the level that you want, because you don't want the music to drown you out if you're going to do music. Again, one of the reasons I think if you're doing the minimalist video editing, skip the B-roll, skip the music, get your words out there. But I do want to show you how to make your video look more professional, and that takes us to step 6. Descript has a feature called layout packs, and this is what makes it easy for anyone to create professional looking videos really fast. They're kind of like templates that you can apply to sections of your video. Now, to be clear, Descript has another feature also called templates, so that's why they're not called templates. But to apply one of these, just like we did with the B-roll, you can find a section that you want to apply a layout to, and you'll see what I mean by layout in just a second. So I'm going to highlight this part, okay? Then I'm going to click on Change Layout. And then here I have one called camera zoom. So I'm going to click on that and it automatically zooms the camera for me. So if I play this back here, because they treat slow starts as failure, but that slow feeling is not a stop sign. So you see how it automatically zoomed in there and kind of gives a little bit more polished professional look. That's one way that you can use layouts. Let me show you another type of layout. So I'm going to highlight this first line here. I'm going to click Change Layout. And then I'm going to choose this one that I've made called Title. And this basically adds a graphic where I can put the title in for my video. So I do this in all my videos. So here I would double click on the text and then I would put in the title for this video. Now you don't have to put your whole title. You can put whatever words you want on the screen, obviously. But if it comes out too big like this one did, I can just drag on the font size right here and make it fit. And now when we play this back, you will be thriving on YouTube in 2026 if you start treating your channel like this. Most people give up on YouTube. So as you saw there at the beginning of that section I highlighted, it came on with a title, which took me about 5 seconds to apply. And then at the end, it transitioned out of that back to the full screen video. So layouts can do all kinds of things. And so this is a step that you can easily go through and just apply different layouts throughout your video, maybe once every 30 seconds to keep some movement, but you don't have to overthink this. Adding a few will make a massive difference. You can also access layouts over here on the right side. And if you go into Change Layout Pack, these are the ones that I've made for my channel. If you go into Change Layout Pack, you can actually see Descript has made a bunch of them that you can use. So this is one that I like from Descript. And you can add titles, you can do different camera zooms, you can do different configurations from screen recordings with your camera and your screen if you're doing that, multi-camera stuff, all kinds of different things that you can quickly go through and apply. Don't let it become overwhelming. Just go through, find 3 to 5 that you like, and then you can just apply them throughout your video. And the best part is you saw how at the end of that title graphic, it switched back to my camera full screen and it was fully animated. YouTube has built in something called smart transitions. So it will automatically take 2 layout packs that you applied next to each other and animate the transition between them. So it gives a really nice polished feel. Once you got your video the way you want it, step 7 is to get the video out of Descript in onto YouTube or wherever you want to put it. So one of the great things is you can come up here to export and you can actually choose from this drop down and export right to YouTube. Or maybe you want to show it to somebody else, get some feedback on it before you publish it. Well, you can choose this Descript web link option and you click publish. And in a few seconds, it's going to generate this link where you can share it with other people. So you can click copy and it'll create this web page where you can actually send people to watch your video. They'll see the transcript as well, and then they can go through and leave comments. So if you work with other people who need to approve it or anything like that, they could highlight a section and say, I really like this, but let's change part Z. And of course, there's also a way to export it to your computer. So I come up here, I click on this drop down, I choose local export. You want to export for YouTube at least at 1080p, which is probably going to be the default. If you record it in 4K, you could try and export it 4K. That's a really big file that you don't necessarily need for YouTube, in my opinion. And all you have to do then is hit export. It's going to ask you to give it a title and then you save it on your computer. And depending on the length of your video, in a few seconds or a few minutes, it should be downloaded to your computer. By the way, if you've already got a Descript account, you can go through and follow the steps that I showed you here and start editing your videos faster today. If you don't, I've got a special link that you can try it out for free. Get that in the description of this video. And if you want to know the real secret to editing videos faster, and actually has nothing to do with AI, click the video on the screen right now and I'll show you exactly what it is.